Hi, I'm Jameson Newlander, Alan Frog from the Lost Boys, and you're watching the Frog Brothers podcast.
Let me get 'em!
It's refreshment time, folks.
I'm just gonna go watch a movie.
Do you like scary movies?
I don't watch movies.
I have to return some videotapes.
You have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. Don't need a TV.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.
Over 1,600 titles, each for rent at just $2 the first night, and only
Finish him. I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you are aware that there's an invention called television, and on this invention they show shows, right?
It's a Laserdisc.
Okay, I want channels 18, 24, 63, 109, 87, and Weather Channel.
Welcome to the Frog Brothers podcast with your hosts, Justin and Alec.
Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to the Frog Brothers podcast. I want to preface this interview with just a little bit of an intro here. This is the second time we're interviewing Greg Sestero. We've never had this happen before, but the file went corrupt, so we had to re-record this with Greg, and thankfully he agreed to call in a second time, because if a podcast that I appeared on was like, hey, our file went corrupt, I would just assume they didn't know what they were doing. But luckily, Greg is very understanding, and he called back in for a second chat. I tried to bring up some points of stuff that he talked about in the first one that we wanted people to hear. So we are also releasing a review of The Room this week because he'll be in town doing a screening. So we're going to review that this week. And on that episode, you'll be able to hear all about that screening and the meet and greet with him, all that kind of stuff. So keep your eyes open for that and enjoy the interview. All right, so welcome to the Frog Brothers podcast. I just want to thank you for doing this again because I will address the elephant in the room that we previously talked to Greg last night and had some issues with the file, so he gracefully agreed to come back again tonight.
Yeah, I really appreciate you taking time out again. I know you're a very busy person and got a lot of stuff going on, so thanks for coming back.
Yeah, no worries. I know we had a good chat, and let's do it again. That was a warm-up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I kind of wrote down anything that I feel like that we talked about that I remembered that was really interesting, so we'll kind of go through some of that. But, yeah, it's really cool that you're coming to town for a screening at Screenland Armor, which is a theater that we regularly attend just for all sorts of screenings and regular movies and stuff. So we just really like them in general. And you're doing a double feature of The Room and a mystery movie, which again, I think I might have some clues as to what that is, but I won't even put a guess out. So
yeah, I mean, it could be The Room too. It could be anything. But,
yeah.
If you've learned over the last 10 or some odd years that usually if I'm going to present a film, it's going to have or a book or whatever, it's going to have a twist to it. And I'm stoked to be in Kansas City. To show a new project, because Kansas City's been really good to me over the years. Starting at the Alamo Draft House and now getting to be at Screenland Armor. So I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night and what the crowd thinks of this big surprise.
Yeah, you said you had some very interesting things always happen in Kansas City, news-wise for you. So what were some of those?
Yeah, it was. I got the message that James Franco had read the book, and he was very interested in discussing about turning it into a film. And the night I was appearing in Kansas City, he was appearing in Vancouver to see The Room for the first time, and I got the message. And then I remember when I was coming to Kansas City for Best Friends, I was contacted by Lionsgate as I was driving to the theater that they had seen it and they were interested in distributing it worldwide. So it's just, I think it's a good omen. And hey, I've been a Chiefs fan the past couple of years. So it's great time to come to town. I need some luck.
Yeah, I think you're gonna get something for sure out of it. We'll see what it is. I'm hoping that it's somebody approaching you like, we got to get Big Shock made. We got to get it made, kid. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, yeah. But I think, like we were talking about last night, I think, it's really cool to get back out and hang out and meet fans and share some of the new projects I've been working on, because during quarantine, I was able to spend a lot of creative time, editing this other new horror film that I made called Miracle Valley, which is about a cult. And horror's been my favorite genre for a while, and I kind of dug into that. And, the film has tested really well. It's got a kind of a Hills Have Eyes, Midsummer, Texas Chainsaw Massacre feel. And also, I was very busy, as Mark was in the room, digging into the UFO culture, and I wrote a UFO abduction script while I was living in Arizona, and I got to take a UFO night tour in Sedona, which was super fascinating. And I stumbled across a few people who have connections to Travis Walton, the subject of one of my favorite movies, Fire in the Sky, about a true story abduction in Snowflake, Arizona. So I've been able to do some cool stuff over quarantine, and that's the next film. I have a new horror film coming out called Miracle Valley, and I'm also going to be making next year, hopefully, a UFO abduction film. So, KC, if you're listening, throw some fairy dust and help me out.
Yeah, I'd love to see that new Alien movie come to fruition, because
Booger, seriously?
those movies that stuck with me ever since, and kind of was the foundation for my fascination with aliens. And pretty exciting to see what comes of that, because that's just sounds so much fun just to hear it, and knowing that you've got a little bit of, some connections there already, just being able to take that realism and apply that in a new way that we haven't seen done in so long, because there's been a lot of alien movies since, but there are a lot of big invasion movies, and they don't really just get to that nitty gritty, like terrifying level of one person's encounter. And I think, we're really long overdue for a movie like that.
Yeah, we really are, and I think it's sort of that personal aspect of Fire in the Sky that moved me, that how it affected those people's lives, and really, what an abduction scene looks like. I think that was one of the most terrifying abduction scenes ever put on film, and I think that's what I hope to do, is to make something that's ultra unique and that can get people's fascination. I know recently UFOs have been, a big topic, but I'm really hoping to draw more, more history into that culture.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's bigger than ever right now. Dan Aykroyd's a huge Hollywood name that loves his alien lore and is always promoting that type of stuff. And then Tom DeLonge from Blink-182 is a huge UFO fan. He's been working so much on that. So there's really the gateway to get to some of these scarier, nitty-gritty personal stories is really ripe. It's ready to go.
Most definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I'm really looking forward to that. We're looking at White Sands to film, El Paso, Texas. We got some really good locations there, Roswell. So, my hope again is to bring something fresh to the genre that'll be reminiscent of what Fire in the Sky did for us back in 1993.
Absolutely. I'm hoping that gets done sooner than later. So let me ask you, what's the process for writing something like that? Does that take a lot of revisions? What kind of research do you do? What's your turnaround time on just getting prepped to be able to present that to, get to the financing and creation point?
So, first off, you got to envision the story, and I was really inspired by taking the UFO night tour and reading those stories and listening to interviews with all kinds of, people that have stories about being abducted or sightings, and lots of radio and podcasts, Art Bell. So you come up with a story and you present it. You have, I like to have an actor or somebody that I know that could play the part, and I write that part for them. And, and you just approach it. And luckily, I've been fortunate to have theaters and supportive groups that are willing to help me get films made. And, so it's an easier process than starting from scratch. But really, yeah, you got to envision the story and you got to believe in it. And I think after that, a lot of things will fall into place.
I just find it funny that you're working on both a UFO movie and you have this movie about a cult coming out, because those are just two very fascinating subjects to me in general, like in real life and in film. So I'm really stoked to see both of those.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's bizarre because cults and UFOs were something that have really come out to the public's fascination as of late, like, you know, in the press and a lot of articles. And Miracle Valley is very much about a true cult. It's about, you know, blood trafficking and some really wacky things that have come to light. And it's just funny how I tapped into these stories a few years ago, and all of a sudden, you know, here they are, people are talking about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to be ahead of the curve a little bit, which is always a tough thing to do in the entertainment industry, is being ahead of those curves and being that trendsetter that people are going to follow behind as things get popular and you've already got this idea and it's, you know, it's ready to go. So hopefully that really helps move this project along. And obviously Miracle Valley just sounds fascinating with the whole story and the synopsis I've read on it. And so that's actually your directorial debut, and it was written by you. So what does that feel like to reach that level of the written and directed by category?
It's, you know, it's not something I ever saw myself doing. I kind of worked up to it. You know, obviously I survived The Room. I learned a lot on that production. You know, what to do, what not to do, how to collaborate, how important collaboration is when you're making a film, making sure everybody feels involved and heard. And then once the success of The Room started, I wrote the book, which was a great collaboration with Tom Bissell and Simon & Schuster. And I learned a lot about storytelling and writing. And I got back to my first love, which was writing. I wrote a sequel to Home Alone when I was 12, with a part for myself opposite Macaulay Culkin, and based it in Disney World because I really wanted to live in Disney World at the time. And these two guys fight the wet bandits who had escaped and become janitors at Walt Disney World. So I got back into storytelling, wrote the Disaster Artist. Then I was fortunate to visit the set a lot, of the Disaster Artist adaptation, where I got to see how fun it can be to make a movie. And then I went on to make Best Friends. I wrote and produced that. So once I got there, the next step was, hey, why don't I try to do it all?
Yeah.
And so that was, I took everything I learned. And a big thing with making films is you want to make your life as easy as possible. And that's why I found this beautiful location where the movie was set, where we could live, where we could film. And I knew in writing the script what I had access to, and that made life a lot easier. But even then, making any movie, you're going to have so many challenges, and we had, challenges with the weather, being in the desert, and but it was a great time. And I think, we've tested Miracle Valley with some audiences, and they've really enjoyed it, and they've been really surprised by what it's about and how it flows. So I'm excited for people to see it.
Yeah, that sounds
That's
awesome.
Incredible. That's very inspiring to hear that, just going through those motions as creative people, that creativity can ebb and flow, and to see that, you're able to circle the other passions back in and reignite those sparks and combine those. I think that's every creative person's dream, is to combine all their creative outlets into the ultimate project. And I think, you're kind of hitting that level now and hitting that stride, which is incredible.
Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun, and I'm stoked again. One of the greatest rewards is being able to come to theaters and have people that show up and support you. And see your films, and I think that makes me really appreciative, obviously, of coming to cities like Kansas City and having a great venue like the Screenland, and people like you that are going to come out and cheer it on and have fun with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've actually gotten quite a few of our friends going with us too, so we're bringing a little crew. Hopefully it'll be a packed house for you and everything, and it'll be a great time. We're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be great. And obviously The Room, 18-year anniversary, getting people that hopefully have never seen it, which is always fun.
Yeah.
That's always amusing when people bring friends and have never seen The Room, and you see the reaction on their faces.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
It's interesting to see how much how much did that friend tell that other friend about this movie before they came, because I've been watching this movie for maybe maybe only 6-7 years at this point, not probably around 6. I know it was a year or two before Disaster Artist actually came out, but once it did, it started blowing up, and eventually I had to get Justin over here to watch the movie too, and he was just like, what? How have I missed out on this, like, hidden gem that's just, it's just a great time to watch that movie. And so it's fun to see that. Like you said, people see it for the first time. That's always fun, is exposing people to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a movie like no other, and it's a movie that for some reason, I've stopped second guessing it and just realized that it's a unique piece of entertainment that people really love, and whether it's so bad it's good or whatever, it's 20 years later and people still have that enthusiasm for it, want to talk about it, and if they're willing to show up and support it, then I guess I have to as well.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's just such a unique piece of entertainment, and it just shows like that DIY aspect and the gumption that it took everyone involved in that to really work on it and put their heart into it, right? The Disaster Artist story just really kind of walks you through that, and I know the book's a lot darker than the movie turned out, and to see that movie is amazing, and then to know the story of it, it's kind of that trifecta. You see the original movie, you read the book, and then you see the movie about the making of, and you really get all aspects of that. And especially for creative people or people in the industry, it's just one of those gems because you get the complete story in a unique way that I can't say that there's anything that's ever kind of had that before, that's had a movie made and then a book and then a movie based on the book about the movie. It's one of those things it defies everything that it should do with entertainment, and has created its place in the pop culture zeitgeist for the last 20 years now almost. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And it's always a movie that I see people leave, with a smile and questions. And so, a lot of times people ask like, hey, are you sick of this? You don't want to talk about it, but it's like, hey, the past 10 years I've been able to write a book, have that book be turned into an award-winning film, make 3 or 4 new films, and still get a chance to connect with you guys. It's like, what more can you ask for? I mean, obviously every artist hopes and wishes to make Back to the Future or, Citizen Kane or whatever, but that's all that's out of our control. All we can do is approach things with sincerity, and that's what I've done, and that's what's been so cool about this fan base is that they really get that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and then ultimately that story of friendship you have there, your friendship with Tommy is amazing, and just to kind of see how this movie built on that, and then the other collaborations you've done, and then just the success you guys kind of bounce back and forth off each other with it, right? And it's one of those movies, like you said, it may not be an award-winning movie, but it's just those movies that people can watch and just feel like they're connected to you as people, as entertainers. It just struck that right chord to people in a way that was like, oh wow, there's just something totally unique about this I've never seen before.
Yep, most definitely. And that's what I'm continuing to try to do, but do it sincerely, because you can't make a bad movie, on purpose. You got to, or any cult movie for that matter. It's got to be something that speaks in a unique and genuine way.
Yeah.
Well, and that fearlessness, I feel like, everything I've seen since just shows that fearlessness, that after you were able to accomplish that fear just kind of went away, and then you're like able to embrace some of those things that you may have been afraid of before. Is that the case in your situation?
I mean, what The Room did is it sort of erased fear for me, because I've sort of seen such a unique side to cinema and cult audiences that I'm like, hey, this is really liberating, because now I can go out and make the things that I want to make and take risks and know that you have an audience behind you that is willing to support that. So I don't really feel, there's normal nervousness or excitement to see, how is the film received? Are people going to respond to it? But I approach it with passion and sincerity, and trying to make the, try to see if my ideas spark something in the audience, which is sort of what any artist hopes for. And I have the ability to do that now, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. The The Disaster Artist is just as a book, not even speaking about the film, it's inspirational for, I think, not just filmmakers and people in that industry, but like creative people in general. Because it like you've said before, it's kind of a follow your dreams story, and a story about friendship, and it definitely tells you, it's kind of a manual of, hey, don't do this for filmmaking. Maybe do this, It's very interesting, and then the movie itself is, again, very inspirational. It's funny, and it's informative or whatever, but inspirational is really what I take away when I watch the Disaster Artist movie. So
and that's what I'm glad that movie did, because I know the book is a lot darker, it deals with a lot more tension, but the film adaptation, for a wide audience, is something that people can relate to, and they don't have to have seen the room to appreciate it.
Yeah. So
absolutely. So jump back to Big Shark for a minute. I mean, you watch the trailer of that, and it's like, you pull aside just the trailer, and that blew my mind because it looks like it's an actual movie, right? I mean, I'm like, okay, when's this coming out? I'm ready to get this. Looking for every detail I can find about it, because shark movies are some of the greatest movies you can watch because they're so entertaining, because there's a villain here that you don't have that traditional sense. They don't have a right or wrong. The story is that they're a natural predator, and no matter how you play it out, they're always going to be fun. No matter how campy they get or how serious they get, they're going to be a good time.
Most definitely, and I think that's Jaws is one of my all-time favorites, and I've always been fascinated by sharks. But at the moment, obviously, Big Shark was just a teaser.
Yeah,
that was shot almost 3 years ago, so it's not anything that's tangible now. But hopefully someday, that shark will swim again.
We will keep it alive spiritually here at the Frog Brothers podcast, because we absolutely love that. It's one of my favorite little. It's like you said, it's just the trailer, but it's still one of my favorite, more modern collaborations that we've gotten to see between you and Tommy. And, another one I don't think we even talked about last night was the Nerdist sketch, Tommy Wiseau's The Dark Knight.
Yeah, we were promoting Best Friends, Lionsgate, working with Nerdist, and we got a chance to shoot, a classic scene from The Dark Knight. I got to wear the bat suit. Which was always a dream of mine. It was a lot hotter than I was thinking, but it was still pretty great to do that scene. We worked with Tommy and got him some cue cards so he could focus on not having to remember lines, and it worked super well. And it was a great day. It was fun to surprise fans with that, because they had no idea that was coming.
Oh, and it was great, too, and it sparked a bunch of internet memes for a long time, and people demanding that Tommy Wiseau be cast as the Joker and stuff, and that was always great. And it was like, honestly, at first when you stepped on the screen as Batman, I don't think I realized it was you, but I was like, wait a second, I recognize this excessively handsome facial structure here. What's going on?
Yeah, no, it was, that was also pretty fun. I remember, having to do the scene where I have to hold him up and lift him.
Yeah.
And it was just, he was leaning on me, and I'm sweating, and I'm like, damn, it's not as easy playing Batman as I thought.
But still, that's got to be a dream to put on that cape and cowl, and even just step in for a parody, a satire, and have some fun with it. I mean, it's just be incredible. Visually, it looked great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously, the content of it is, you guys are so self-aware when you guys are doing those things, that's what makes it even better, is because the genuine fun you're having during those really just shows through.
Definitely.
Sincerity there is 100%, and it's like, that's beautiful.
So
I
go ahead. I'm sorry there.
What was I going to ask you guys? So are you how you guys grew up in Kansas City? You're based here?
Yes.
Yep, we're based here in Kansas City. I've lived down in the Memphis area for a little bit, and out in Phoenix, and just found my way back here because it feels like home. There's just culturally, we're a unique city here, and there's so much to offer, and kind of being in the middle of the country really helps out for everything, really, for travel and everything else. You can kind of get anywhere pretty easy. So, love it here.
Yep, I also lived out in Arizona for a little while and was trying to move out to LA for a while out there to do some, industry stuff, but ended up out here, and I still do work on local stuff out here, so it worked out fine. It's fun. I'd say we like it out here, though. It's not too bad.
Yeah, and the barbecue, that's one thing I'm looking forward to trying.
Yeah, do you have any spots that you're lined out and ready to go to yet?
I think some of my KC friends are going to surprise me, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that's awesome. Hopefully they'll bring you a little variety so you can try a little bit of everything and figure out what you like best. I think when you're in town, and you've been here before, but the debate people can have about that is what's the best? Well, someone likes one item from every place, so to get their perfect plate of barbecue, they're going to hit up every spot and get one item and bring that to their buffet.
Yeah, barbecue is pretty much just a war zone. Memphis versus Kansas City versus Texas, and then all the individual restaurants hate each other too.
Yeah, no, I've heard. I had friends in Minnesota that were telling me all about the Kansas City barbecue scene, so I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome. Any other sites you regularly visit when you're in town?
I've been here a couple times. I've hung out, sometime downtown and, coming through on some road trips. So, yeah, I'm just looking forward to catching up with some good friends and have a great show at the Screenlit Armor and, get a chance to meet you guys in person.
Yeah, we'll give you some stickers we got set aside for you and stuff.
That'll be great.
And we do want to thank you for coming on. You did say yesterday, I believe, that you're doing a meet and greet between the movies as well. Is that right?
Yeah, we're gonna do do a signing and whatever you guys got to sign and be able to chat face to face and do some photos. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. So
cool. I'll bring my copy of the book.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Excellent. Well, really appreciate your time again, Greg, and really looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. And hopefully, the leading to tomorrow is something sort of amazing for you here in town. And hopefully, that spark of good news comes through like you're looking for. And hopefully, we can be part of that magic for you.
Yeah, most definitely. And I really appreciate you guys having me on and supporting me and getting the word out. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, and let me just say,
Thank you very much.
Let me just say, what a story, Mark.
You must be kidding. I got the picture. That's live.
We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All
Have
right.
a great night. Take
You
care.
too.
Bye.